Ever felt misunderstood about career choices? Let's dive into careers and college critiques.
Stigmatized.
The pure irony of reaching like this point of my career and having taken that approach to how I wanted to shape my life is a bit funny because yeah, people did say that to me. Teachers said that to me all the time. They said that to me even when I told them what I wanted to do in life, which at the time was make games. And
Back then, like you can't make no living making games.
yeah, that's exactly
Like that's what dope heads and
exactly.
losers.
That's precisely the kind of feedback, like that's not something that will give you a life. That's not something that will support, the traditional nuclear family ideology. Yeah.
So one thing, like when I do the podcast, things that pop in my head. So what pop in my head now, right? I don't even remember this a long time ago. Chris Rock does comments here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about GED. He basically was like GED. He's like, get the fuck out of here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you telling me you take a 4-hour test that would be the same 4 years of high school?
Mm-hmm.
Like bullshit, right? But
Yeah.
obviously it's like knowledge is knowledge, right? Why waste 4 years getting knowledge? You just knock it out.
100%. So if I challenge anyone to go to a university website and just take a look, right? You can take certification tests. You don't need to sit in a classroom for years to learn something. And the way information on the internet flows today, it's kind of valid, like if you're able to learn something on your own, why not?
Yeah, right now I don't see how college is justify the existence to be truthful, right? Now, you can say a purpose is a purpose called like be a social network, alumni stuff. Is it like, get a job? What is it, right? Because it's increased by, I'm making this up, like 20,000% further as far as costs. It's like, it's insane.
So I spent years in various universities, and the cost is one thing, and also the content, right? So I work primarily in game development, and I went to my last university was for game development. If you asked me how much of the content that I was getting from university actually helped me outside, it would be a very low number. And that's kind of a good snapshot for what it really is, in my opinion. It's like you're learning stuff from people who probably haven't worked in the industries that they're teaching, which is a common thread.
What's that saying? Those who do it, but those who can't teach or something like that.
Yeah, those who do, and those who can't teach.
Is there such a thing as like game development degrees or game design degrees?
Yeah, definitely. You have really big universities that teach it as well. Even if you don't go into game development, I think game design courses are actually useful for life stuff.
Yeah.
You learn to organize and structure things into systems, right? That's what we do. We create virtual ecosystems for people to engage in a fun way. And I use game design principles in my everyday life.
Yeah. So my guy Kevin is here. All three of us are Army veterans, right? So next one, dive your Army career. So you got your GED. Was it purposely so you could join the military?
It was purposely so I could, one, join the military, and two, hurry up. Right. That's really purely the motivation. Where I grew up in New York, it's just a small town. You're not gonna find the kind of career where you can apprentice or
not maybe like sort of advantages or opportunities.
Exactly. A lot of people that I know that I went to high school with from my town end up doing things very locally. They're not going to other places to work, right? They're not going to apply for a job in New York City because that's not going to match their skill set. They're used to being where they are. And yeah, I was very eager to go.
And you were like a armor, 19 kilo?
I was a tanker, yeah, 19 kilo.
You picked that on purpose or like how that happened?
It's actually funny because I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was going into the military, but I knew I wanted to be a soldier. It was on my childhood bucket list, and I've been pretty respectful of that list. So when I got to you have to go to this place, the MEPS, and you got to take the test, the ASVAB, which is like a competency/IQ test, and I took that, and I scored really, really low. Because it's not all like, are you smart questions?
Yes, I know. It's a different type of smart.
It's a different type of smart. And
it's Army smart test.
It's Army smart test. And I scored I say low, but it wasn't low, but it was under working in OPSEC or something in the IT field or something like that. So I got a lot of combat arms options. And when I spoke with the recruiter that would help me pick an MOS, he had already arranged some videos to show me. And the very first one, the first one was 88 Mike, which is truck driver. And the second one was field engineer, which are the guys that go out, they put out those bridges and stuff like that. And the third one was 19 Kilo, and which is a tanker. And we watched all of them. And before he put the tape in, he said something to me that I'll never forget. This is a moment that's forever staying in my brain. He looked at me in the eyes and he said, "Do you like video games?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I like video. I love video games." And he's like, "Okay, well, watch this cassette tape. It's 19 Kilo. You'd be working in tanks. You'd be a crew member, and it's like playing a video game." And my eyes lit up. I watched the video. It was the most badass thing I'd ever seen in my life. I'd never seen anything like this. And at first I thought it was some kind of fancy CGI, because there was these tanks on a ridge line shooting down into this valley, and it looked like Star Wars laser beams, but those were like high explosive rounds. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. And he laughed a little, he giggled a bit, and then that was it.
So I'll tell you my joining the Army story. I said this one, I've said it on podcast before, right? So I wasn't doing good well in life, so I didn't use something. I said, when I took the test, I saw a critter, hey, like I need to leave sooner or later, right? Yeah. What can I do? So I took the test, and he said, "Well, we got 2 options for you can leave within like 3 weeks, right?" And they showed the first video. It was a parachute repairman, right?
Okay.
And basically, like the video was like in your warehouse, like 1,000 dudes, right? Sweaty, like just like man.
Oh yeah.
And I can only go to Fort Bragg or Fort Benning, Georgia, right? Hot place, right? Okay. Okay. What's next? Next one. Remember, this time I'm like 18, 19 years old, right? 18 or 19 years old. So keep that in mind. Next one is a video of awesome environment, air conditioning, all these like nice looking females. Yeah. And I could go to Germany. I'll take that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But the Army being the Army is, I went to my first unit. It was all dudes. And I was in the field my first 2 months. Where's the females at? You fuckers lied to me.
They're not there. This is by design. Those videos were so cool. Even like the ones that you would think are boring still looked cool.
Yeah.
They do good. They do a good job.
They don't show like, the 24-hour staff duty or the being in the guard duty in the foxhole.
Nope.
Freezing cold.
Nope. They don't show you the field rotations on guard for 24 hours with nothing but a stick. Like you don't see any of that.
No, they don't. So do you have a favorite assignment in the Army? Like, as far as like duty station?
I think my favorite duty station was South Korea.
South Korea.
South Korea was awesome. I was a young guy, and
I think we were there at the same time, because I was there from March 05 to July 08.
We were there
05, yeah.
We overlapped a bit, yeah.
You opened 2ID, I'm guessing.
Say again?
You opened 2ID land?
No, I was in first tank.
First tank, okay.
First tank, and then my second tour I was up in Munsan.
Okay.
They shut that unit down and then put us on glorified guard duty for the corridor, and fun times. Korea was great. I loved Korea.
Korea's a great time.
Yeah, very much so.
Like for us, it's funny. Like, so me and my family were like different places. My wife, my oldest daughter, like Germany the best. I like Italy the best. My 2 other kids like Korea the best.
Okay. So everybody, okay.
Yeah.
Germany was nice. It was nice. It was a big culture shock coming from Korea, and
the costs are definitely different.
Definitely different. It was such a huge cultural change of things.
Yeah.
Took some time to get used to, but I enjoyed Germany. Germany was cool.
Yeah. So after Germany, you decided to stay there and go to college there? How'd that happen?
So I was married at the time, at the end of my Army career, and I was in school. I had started university from 2 years before I finished, so 2006, I think, something like that. And I was taking courses, online courses at the time, web design, and then I moved into information systems, and it was boring to me. I wanted to go to school physically, so I decided I was going to go into business, and I began my journey at Schiller University, and that's kind of how it started.